Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order of the Library Advisory Board. It's November 18th, 2020. Welcome to this exciting meeting. Without objection, I am going to rearrange our agenda and put Eunice Kim as our very first order of business. Is there any objection to changing the agenda? Okay, so Eunice Kim, welcome. She is a city planner and is the project director of the Our Salem project, which is the Salem's comprehensive plan for the next, is it 20 years? Eunice?
Long time.
Okay, well, take it away, Eunice. Thanks for being here.
Great. Thank you so much. And I apologize that I have to dash at 6. So again, yeah, I'm Eunice Kim. I'm the long range planning manager for the city of Salem and the project manager for the Our Salem project. I'll just do a really quick overview of kind of what the project is and where we are. And I know you guys want to kind of dive into the library policy, so I'm happy to do that too. So just as a reminder, the Our Salem project is an update to that comprehensive plan. That plan is really the long-term plan that guides growth and development over the next 10, 15, 20 plus years. And so it shapes everything from, where different types of housing are located in the city, businesses, the environment, our transportation system, natural resources. And so it's pretty big and broad. And so we're kind of at that higher level right now where we have just reached the milestone where we have released our draft vision for future growth. And the draft vision really focuses on high level goals as well as a proposed comprehensive plan map. So those are a little different than, I'll start with the goals. So we do have some draft policies, which are much more detailed than our high level goals that are in an appendix. But right now we're kind of focused on those goals. And eventually we will get into zoning code and zoning map. But before we get there, we're kind of at the comprehensive plan map level, if that makes sense. Is there a way, can I share my screen? Oh, I can. Okay, so I'm going to be real quick. So I just wanted to share our project website so you can know where to find everything. Are you looking at a website right now? Great. Okay, so this is the Our Salem project website, and that draft vision that I just talked about is here. It's in English and in Spanish, and then there's an interactive map. So I will just kind of quickly show you what those look like and what you can expect to find as it loads. So this is what it looks like. And again, it focuses again on pretty broad goals. So I'll scroll down and show you an example. There are goals on community engagement, housing, economic development, the environment, transportation. So here is the list of kind of the sections right now that are focus areas. And then each of those areas has corresponding goals. So just as an example, the housing goals are pretty big and broad. So we have goals around making sure there's a diverse range of housing types in the community, that our housing is affordable, that our housing is in locations where people can easily access services. So they're pretty high level. We do have policies, draft policies, because as we've been doing this visioning process, we've gotten a lot of information over the last year plus. And so we wanted to make sure we captured that. So I'll just show it. So here's the appendix. And this is the proposed policy on library that I think you've all seen. But our focus now, right now, again, is goals. But if we want to talk about policies, I'm happy to do that. But before I move to that, I just want to show the other kind of big piece of the draft vision, and that is the map. And so we have an interactive map online right now where you can click on a property and essentially see what is that property designated as. So when we talk about designations versus zoning, in zoning, there's a lot of detail, right? There's like a commercial office zone, a commercial retail zone, a commercial general zone with very specific uses that, for example, are allowed. But this map is actually showing that higher level proposed comprehensive plan map where you would just see commercial, or you'll just see mixed use or multifamily. It's not all that kind of detailed zoning. So I just wanted to show, if you want to take a look at that, And just in terms of process, we presented this draft vision to the City Council and the Planning Commission in September. And now we're kind of out and about getting input to see, did we get it right? Are there goals that we're missing? Are there properties that we should be changing? And we plan to make revisions to the goals in the map and bring that back to council in February and ask for their acceptance. It's not an adoption process, but we basically want their okay to keep moving into those details, those policies, the zoning map, the zoning code. And then at the very end, hopefully by end of next year, we will go through the adoption process. So there'll be public hearings and all that. So we're kind of starting high. I mean, we do feel pretty excited that we're at this point because we've been just doing so much outreach, but there's a lot more work to do. So I'm happy to dive into detail on anything, but I wanted to make sure I left just most of the time for questions and answers. Okay, yeah. Oh, I can't hear you. I think you're muted.
Okay, there we go. Hi. So in addition to the long range plan, which is the Our Vision plan, there's also the shorter term city strategic plan, as well as the library strategic plan. And I wondered if you could just spend a couple minutes talking about the interrelationship among the three of them, because I think that can be kind of confusing to people. You know, three different types of plans, all of which could impact in various ways our library services.
And Eunice, I can speak a little bit to the library strategic plan, because that will be an offshoot and sort of its own separate thing from either of these, but will tie back and will be informed by similar processes.
Right.
So
I guess I'm most curious about this, about the city strategic plan. Yeah, and anyway, how these three fit into each other and how they can help and support each other.
Sure. So the strategic plan really is a document that really guides kind of more the short term. Usually it's like 3 to 5 years, and it's really focused on city services. So I can see that, you know, the library would fit into that. And there have mentioned, like you mentioned previously, of the library in the strategic plan. The R Salem project actually came out of the strategic plan. So when we first asked the community back in 2017, what are your priorities for the city and the services that were offered, or that we're offering, you know, we heard from the community that they wanted to see a vision for growth and development. What were we doing as a city to guide that growth? And so the R Salem project actually came out of the strategic plan, and now we are just coordinating. So a lot of the input we get from the community can go either way. Ours is really more focused on the built environment, growth and development, and impacts from that growth and development, as opposed to like operating funds and how are we going to fund services and things like that. That's the strategic plan. The strategic plan really guides kind of the council goals each year and the their budget. So the library's kind of, I guess, a little bit caught in the middle. We have received input from the community throughout our process that they want to see library services more distributed into the community. And so we had, you know, drafted a policy, and we're happy to change it, update it, add more, you know, with your input. But we're not really there yet, but I'm happy to take your input now as we start working on it.
I was happy to see that your proposed policy for Our Salem mentions additional branch libraries, which is actually more specific than the proposed policy that we gave your office. So that was nice to see. And also I was looking through the 2017 city strategic plan and noticed that there's a paragraph on branch libraries there, including a discussion of the library advisory board at that time having discussed it. So that's great to see that in both of those locations, there's some discussion of branch libraries, because certainly we have our current library advisory board has discussed that quite a bit. So we might want to discuss it even a little bit more with respect to our upcoming strategic planning process for our library.
And I did look again at the language you had sent earlier and given to Austin about extending services, particularly in underserved areas. And I think that's something that we could probably bring into the policy that we have now, kind of revising it, because I think that is really the stress that we've heard, like in the areas where it is difficult to access services for one reason or another as kind of a priority to highlight. If you all kind of still feel like that's something that you want to do, we can update that policy to kind of look at that.
We also submitted a policy that spoke to funding, mentioning that the library has traditionally been very poorly funded compared to other libraries around the state. I don't know if that's the level of specificity that you get to in the Our Salem plan, our Salem plan, or if that's even appropriate, but I just wondered what you thought about that sort of thing. I did see the recommended policies that the Parks Board submitted to City Council on the city strategic planning process, and they did get into proposed funding ideas.
Courtney is probably the best person to ask on the strategic plan, but I tend to think that that type of operating funding would be better directed to the strategic plan. Short term, this is very long term, guiding how we grow and where things go kind of thing, 10, 15, 20 years. But I'm happy to share these with her if that helps.
Are there other questions? So I had a question. So maybe you don't know, but if we do want to give input to the city strategic plan, how do we do that?
We are trying to make it as easy as possible. So if you were to just send it to me, I can make sure it gets to the right person, people, project. We're trying to make that very simple. The person leading that project is Courtney Knox-Bush. She's in the city manager's office. But again, I'm happy to help if you just want to send it to me.
Yeah. And do you think just leaving it as expanding to underserved areas is okay? But I do think we specifically do want to say, that we want more branches. Should we say a part of town? What is your thoughts on that?
I was thinking that we would just kind of add the underserved areas to the idea of the co-location of services, additional branch libraries, et cetera. I didn't want to take away that unless you didn't agree with that draft policy. I was just thinking we could add to it kind of.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if we have to vote on that, but people give me a show of hands if that would be okay. Yes. Thank you, Gretchen. Denise, new person. I don't know about any. Okay. Sarah, yes. Jeff, yes. Kellen, yes. Okay, good. Anything else?
Well, after you go, Eunice, later tonight, we have certain action items, and I might like to make a proposal that we make specific reference to branch libraries in our recommended policy that we would send to Courtney or you for Courtney, so that our, I like that you put branch our Salem plan, but I think we also want to make sure that it gets into the that language gets in, or something similar, or even more specific gets into the strategic plan. So we might I might send you a slightly altered policy suggestion if that's what we do during this meeting.
Sure. And Sarah, I didn't actually attend the strategic plan workshop or work session, or did libraries come up then?
For the strategic plan work session with council?
Monday, yeah.
I did not go to it either. So,
okay.
And as far as I know, no, but
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm happy to pass on any information.
Okay, thanks so much, Eunice. It's nice to see how all these things fit together, and that we may actually have a little bit of input into what happens to library services down the line. And as I understand it, at the last comprehensive plan, libraries were not mentioned. So we've made a kind of a step up, I think, because it is an essential service. That's one of the things we all agree on. Great. Anybody else have anything to say? All right.
I would say one more thing.
Oh, great. Yes.
Sarah did obviously has told me about the strategic planning effort that you guys are all going to do. And so we will coordinate on that. If input she gets that really belongs in our Salem or vice versa, because the timelines are pretty lined up, luckily. So we'll continue coordinating.
Yeah. Thank you, Eunice.
Yeah.
Thanks so
Eunice.
much. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go on with our agenda. For the new people, Denise and Sarah, I think Sarah's here, Sarah Bishop. I'm Lois Stark. I'm the chair of the Library Advisory Board, and we're so happy to have you with us. It's great. We're going to go on with our agenda now, but down the line, I'm going to ask you to kind of introduce yourself so we know who you are and why you want to be on the advisory board, or why you are on the advisory board. Right now we have to approve the minutes. So I did have a correction that I found to the minutes, which is in the elections area. Under elections, it said Francine announced the lab elections subcommittee nominations, and we really did not have a election subcommittee. So I think we should just change that to Francine nominated Catherine for vice chair. Catherine accepted because we since we changed our bylaws, we really did not have to have an elections subcommittee. Are there any other additions or corrections to the minutes? Okay, seeing none, I would like to hear a motion to approve the minutes.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
I second. I need to turn my sound on when I decide to speak.
Thanks, Gretchen. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. So all in favor of approving the minutes, either put a thumbs up or do something, say yes. I don't see anybody saying no, so we have approved the minutes, yay. All right, on to the next item. Did we receive any written or oral kinds of public comment? Clarissa?
We didn't receive any.
We didn't receive any.
Okay, all right, so we'll move on from there. Let's hear from the Teen Advisory Board, otherwise known as TAB.
Hi, Annabelle. Hi, Katie.
Hello. So I'm Bella Ramey. I go by she, her pronouns. I am 18 or 17. Go to South Salem High School. So the things that I have to report are that the Teen Advisory Board has chosen their officers for 2020 to 2021 year. I am the new co-chair along with Brinsley Hammond-Brower. Our vice chair is me here, Joshi. Secretary is Piper Martin. Social coordinators are Katie McCannis and Avery F. And the tech support is to fill the position that used to be our advanced reader copy librarian is Madeline Zink. Even our officer positions are adapting to COVID times. TAB has also helped a lot this month with video projects, and we've provided voiceovers and a couple of video clips for the third construction chapters video, which when it's done being edited will tell people about the parts of the renovation for the children's and teens. And 5 TAB members have linked up with the CC Media and created a holiday greeting for the library, telling people about curbside and virtual services available during quarantine.
I'm Katie. My pronouns are she, her. I'm
Sorry, I'm 14 and my school is Summit Learning Charter. I'm one of the new social coordinators for TAB, like Avery, not Avery, sorry, like Bella already said, our job is to come up with fun ways to keep the group feeling connected by planning short activities during the meeting and organizing other ways to socialize. Last week at our first meeting, we played Pictionary on Zoom using screen sharing and whiteboard. It worked very well. We have also just wrapped up a very successful teen fandom trivia night where TAB members hosted for other teens. We wrote all the questions and then hosted the teams in Zoom rooms while they did 6 rounds of trivia, each about a different fandom. They did really well with Percy Jackson, Hamilton, Disney movies, Harry Potter, and Marvel movies. They didn't know as much about Nintendo.
All right, thanks. Any questions for our teen advisory board? Sounds like you're doing good work. You having fun? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. You can stay and listen, but you probably don't want to. So go and have fun and do something, read some good books. Thanks.
And thank you for your help with the holiday greeting. You know, we all appreciate that at the library. So thanks for letting people know about our COVID era services.
Thanks. Okay, Chair's report is next, and I wrote my report. You should have read it, but I'm going to take this time so we can get to know our two new people, Denise and Sarah. So let's start with Denise. Tell us just briefly, 1 or 2 sentences about yourself and maybe what your interests are as far as the library goes. And welcome, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I'm a retired nurse practitioner, retired about a year ago or so. I have loved the libraries all my life. I think they are amazing, magical places. And I just can't get over all of the amazing and just the copious amount of free material we have at our fingertips, the movies, the books, the craft materials. It's just like almost like Disneyland with no money. So that's my story.
Thank you. Great, Denise. Sarah, tell us the same for you.
So I teach at Willamette. I teach Russian and cinema studies and English at Willamette. And I've always been a lover of libraries. I'm an academic, so it's logical. But I especially appreciate the Salem Library. We moved here 12 years ago from the previous college where I taught was in an incredibly wealthy suburb of Boston where they just had, it was, nuts, the kind of support that it was available for public services. And I've been so impressed with the Salem Library, all that they've been able to do with a very, very small amount of resources. And I really see it as an important hub for the whole community, and I'm looking to support it in any way I can, especially with the new pressures under COVID.
Great, thanks, Sarah. Well, welcome, and we'll try to get you plugged in wherever you want to get plugged in. Just a minute, Sarah. I personally do not feel very comfortable with Zoom because I like to see body language and what people are doing and stuff. So I look forward to a time when we can get together in person. And just briefly, I wanted to say this is sort of my take on the Library Advisory Board. We are sort of a connection between the community and the library. Sarah, who we love, is our city librarian. She's actually not a voting member of Lab. She's somebody that communicates stuff about the library to us, and we bring stuff from the community. We also are an advocate for the community and the Library Advisory Board to the City Council. So those are some of the things that we do. And Sarah, what did you have to add?
Oh, I just was going to ask if maybe everybody could introduce themselves really briefly, kind of around the board, so that the new members can meet everyone too. If you would be willing to do that. It occurred to me that we're a bunch of faces that they haven't seen before either. So I just thought I'd ask that.
Excellent idea. I'll start with myself. I'm Lois. I'm the chair. This is I was elected to the chair in September, but I was previously the chair because somebody's time termed out. I'm still learning. I love the library. I'm not like real formal and but I think I run a good meeting, and I love to have good people on board. So let's go now to Catherine.
I'm Catherine Daniels, and I'm the vice chair and do a lot of work with Lois, who's a pleasure to work with. And I was a city planner until I retired recently. So that's why I aimed all my questions about goals and policies to Eunice. And I get that planning talk. And if anybody has any questions about that kind of thing, I'd be happy to talk more about it. But I do think that those planning processes are really going to be potentially really helpful to the library in terms of maybe being able to develop branch libraries or doing some other things, some big, bold things. So welcome to our 2 new members.
Great. How about you, Gretchen? Go next.
Okay, I'm Gretchen Coppage, and I'm I finished my first year, right? So I'm in the second year. Time has flown, and came on at a very interesting time when we were getting ready to go ahead with the renovation, and it's been exciting. I am the liaison to the Library Foundation, and I just had our first meeting with the foundation, which was very good, and I'll talk about that later.
Great. Thanks, Gretchen.
What?
I said, great. Thanks. How about Callan?
Hello, I'm Callan Sterling, and I've been on the board for over 2 years now. I can't actually really think about it. And since we've been on Zoom, I usually have my video off because I have a very active 3-year-old who is actually currently painting my nails. So I don't think everybody wants to see that, and I certainly don't want YouTube to see my painted nails. So I leave my video off, but it's lovely to meet you all. I look forward to meeting you in person, and welcome.
Great. Thanks, Callan. Bill, would you like to say some things about yourself?
Yes, I've been a teacher and director of a children's program. I've been on the library board several terms and also the Salem Police Board, and I love the new police building. So I think I'm going to try to get back on that.
Oh, thanks, Bill. Is Jeff on? He's not on my screen.
He was here, but I don't know if he's still here.
Okay.
I think he's gone.
Okay. Well, I think that's everybody, unless I'm missing someone. Let's go on to City Librarians report.
Awesome. Hi, I'm Sarah, and Sarah and Denise, I've talked to you on the phone, but I haven't really gotten to see your faces, so it's really nice to put faces to voices. And Clarissa is also on this call. She is our staff assistant for the library. She's an admin assistant who will take the notes, and she sets up the Zoom calls and make sure that we're streaming on YouTube. So we're doing all of the public meeting stuff that we need to do. It's this weird time where we're all learning how to do all of these things. And my city librarians report is usually a written report. So it is a part of the agenda package that you all receive via email from Clarissa. But I did just want to say that I did a walkthrough of the main library today, just this morning. Walls are going in, which is really exciting. Windows are going in, which is also really exciting. I think they finished all of the steel that needed to be put into the building is done now, which is a milestone if you know anything about construction, and I don't really. So that is, that they were very excited about that on the Howard S. Wright side of things. So I even saw some of the drywall that had been hung already was being prepped for painting. So that's another big exciting thing that's happening. And it's just really fabulous to see things going. I did want to also mention the construction chapters, volume 3 is going to be the last volume that we do in quite the same way. We are going to be doing shorter snippets of video and trying to get them out more quickly. These videos have been very time intensive, and while they've been great and really fun, we want to make sure that we're connecting with the community more often and keeping the project fresh in people's minds and keeping them connected. And you may have seen, we actually just did a big push about the building today because our architects, Hacker Architects, won a People's Choice Award and a Colleagues' Choice Award for the design from the Salem section of the AIA, which is a architects professional group. So it's very exciting that they won that award, or those awards actually. And so if you check Facebook and some of our website online, there are some great updates about what the design is and what those awards are. So I just wanted to kind of share that information with you. There's lots of other things going on, but the construction stuff is always the stuff that's the attention grabber. So the freeze from the state, I did want to also mention, we're still going to be doing curbside. We're still doing our virtual services. And we just had a successful take and make kit program, which is also contactless today, where all of the kits that we had available for people to take were gone by 3:55 this afternoon. So people came and got those kits right away. So we're going to keep on with what we've been doing. It's contactless, and it really follows all of the guidelines already. So we're keeping on. There will be some internal changes just on more working from home for staff who aren't supporting curbside and things like that. But and otherwise, the public and the patrons will see basically the same level of service. Any questions about the librarians report or anything I just said?
I saw the posting on Facebook. Looked
Good. Good. Yeah.
I like what I read about the Bookmatch program.
Oh,
That looks like a great service for people, as you say, especially during this time when we can't be browsing the stacks.
right.
Yeah,
And that has been so popular.
I'll bet.
Took off so quickly. So it's been really fun to see that go. Bookmatch, if you didn't get a chance to read that part of the report, is we have a form online that people can fill out with what they like, what they want to read, that kind of thing. And we will come up with a bunch of books for them. And we'll even put them on hold for people if they want us to. So yeah, they have a number of options that they can choose for that. And we've been having a lot of fun with that too. That's like, Reader's Advisory is something that pretty much every public librarian will just get really excited about if you talk to them about that. So yeah, very exciting. And it's for all ages.
And I wrote Sarah a while back, but I had someone unsolicited go on about how great that program was. And she had been feeling kind of down. And so she was going on quite a bit about how good that program was for her specifically.
That's awesome. And I did share your feedback with staff. They really appreciate hearing that feedback. So thank you for sharing that with me. Anything else?
Oh, I saw on your report about these books for kids literacy. That sounded really, really great, and they got a lot of feedback. And I saw that they need funds, and I wondered if that's something that we could contribute to.
Potentially. We do have grant funding for a lot. We use our Ready to Read grant that we get for, it's basically geared towards early literacy. The state library does the disbursements of that money, and we apply for the grants through them.
Okay.
But I think that is a conversation we could have, and I would be happy to bring Jessica, the librarian who works on that, to talk about that more with you.
Yeah, it says staff continues to seek additional funds, and I don't know if everybody read it, but these kits go out to nonprofits in the community, like Mano Mano, Family Building Blocks, and so it's a way, you know, to go. It's outreach, and I just think it's fabulous. If they need funds, and we have some, so yeah, I would love to have that person come and talk.
Yeah, I can ask Jessica if she's available for the January meeting and see if she would be willing to come and talk about the work that she's doing with that and what funding needs are, because that's one of the things I can't really speak to, is how much we have for Ready to Read and how much she's looking for that. So.
Okay, is anybody here from Friends of the Library? No.
I can say that they just met last week on Thursday. We primarily discussed budget, and we're going to be working with them on the collection expansion project and some of the replacement of the books that were damaged in the building.
Okay.
Which Corey from Howard S. Wright texted me on Saturday when the rain started again and was like, everything is nice and dry. So it sounds like the roof issues that we had are mitigated now. So.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, we wouldn't want to have any more damage. For the new people, there was some damage to books done that were being stored at the actual site.
Yeah, they're stored in our compact storage on site, and it was about 850 total volumes, T's through Z's of the adult fiction collection. Luckily, these are books that some of them are duplicates and things like that, because the other books are out on the shelves or in the community, but we are working on replacing those as well.
Okay, Gretchen, would you give us a short report about the foundation?
We had a meeting on the 22nd, and we talked about the new Salem Reads. And you see this? It's Walking with Petey. And now, Sarah, Kate said that she was going to talk to you about dispersing the books to the lab. Did she?
I thought we already had that conversation about disbursement.
Well, see, that was it. I asked Kate if she wanted me to make that announcement where they were going to be, so the lab could
you go ahead.
And then she said she talked to you about it, and so we're like,
I have been in contact with Kate, and we have that taken care of.
Okay, good. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So they will be released to the public the end of the month at the library one day. And then starting in February, there is a full program that will go on in terms of bringing the author in, reaching out to the schools, and having walks, organizing walks throughout the community, promoting health, promoting walking, and enjoying your animals. So.
Yeah, Sonia also told me that I think there will be some extra treats in the in with the books when they are dispersed to the community. So that's very exciting.
Yeah. So that was our primary focus, is talking about that. And do you have anything to add, Sarah?
I do not.
Okay.
My bit about the treats was all I really had right there. I do want to say that, you know, for the new people who don't know this, the renovation has been in part funded by, so the renovation was a bond that got passed in 2017. And the bond was primarily focused on seismic and safety. The foundation gave us over $500,000 that is being used to actually make the space better, and improve that and improve the flow and actually meet some of the goals and some of the things that we heard from the community when we were doing open houses and things like that to gather community input on what they wanted to see in the library. So like the teen area was going to be on the, it had originally been on the plaza level in that corner. It's now actually going to be a part of the children's floor on the 3rd floor. And there's going to be a bigger discovery room area and all sorts of other things that are very exciting and will be covered a lot in that construction chapters video, actually, that will be coming out soon. So sorry, that was a lot of talking about the construction project.
Okay, thanks, Gretchen. Thanks for your being on that committee and being that liaison. So we really appreciate it. Any other questions for Gretchen? All right, thanks. I just wanted to have another information item, or I wanted to talk about that Jeff has had some new work responsibilities, and so he has made the hard decision to resign from this board. I think he's been on at least as long as I've been on, which is either 2 or 3 years. So it's too bad he's not on anymore, because I'd really like to thank him for his service. This was going to be his last meeting. So we will get another new person. And unfortunately, that may be 6 to 8 weeks, because the appointments go through an appointment committee of the city council that only meets quarterly, I believe. So I will write a thank you to Jeff for all of his work. Just wanted to let you know about that. So now we're on to discussion items. And the first one was the Our Salem Vision Report, and that was with Eunice. So I think that's pretty well covered. We did the introduction of new members. And so we wanted an update on the strategic plan. And I think I would like this to be the library and perhaps the city strategic plan that we could talk about. I wanted everyone to know that Callan has agreed, yay Callan, to be on the committee that picks the consultant that will help us make the library strategic plan. So yay Callan, go pick a great consultant. We know you will. So take it away.
I'll do my best.
Well, you'll do good. You'll do great. You're an attorney. You know how to do that stuff. Sarah, will you tell us an update? Whoops, the strategic plan and then the city strategic plan, yeah. If you want to show how that comes together.
Yeah. So this is the season of community input. It's been something we've been talking about a lot actually at the city, is that we've been doing a lot of outreach and a lot of input gathering from the community about what they want to see in the city. And our strategic plan is a part of that. So the person who is actually running the update process for the city, Courtney Knox-Bush, who you heard Eunice mention earlier, is actually in the process of refining our RFP, and she's going to be the person who takes point from the city on running the library's consultant RFP process. I was running into issues where there's much like many other kinds of communities, the library community in Oregon is pretty small. And there was a very good chance that I was going to be running into lots of conflict of interest issues with everybody who applied to be a consultant. And I thought it would be great to take myself out of that position and to have somebody who doesn't know any library consultants be a part of it. So Courtney has great experience with strategic planning. She was a strategic planner. She is in charge of strategic initiatives at the city, and so she's going to be running that process. There will be Callan from the lab and a couple other city staff, and I think one counselor as well. And then we're also going to be looking for a steering committee longer term once we have the consultant in place. And that steering committee will need 2 lab members. So I'm not asking for lab members right this second. We'll have a little bit of time because it's going to be about a 2-month RFP process once it gets posted. So, but if you are interested in being on the steering committee, I think it would be great to let myself or Lois know so that we, and or Lois know, so that we can make sure that you're up for consideration for that. Any questions about any of that stuff? I can say that Moss Adams is the name of the consultant group that is working on the city's strategic plan. It is an update. They're not going through a full strategic planning process. They are looking at what they had before and looking to update it. Our strategic plan is going to be much more of I think, a fuller strategic planning process. There are some really great examples of strategic plans from Salt Lake City where they have a field guide and a roadmap and all of these other things that I think could be really helpful for us to look at as a group and look at as an organization and look at as a community and see where we want to really focus our energy on library services moving forward, especially with the fact that we will have a new building that we are going to be figuring out how to staff, how to provide services in and get comfortable in for ourselves and for all of the people in the community.
I have a question. Will you or your staff be making any recommendations to the city about the library or library services into the city's strategic plan? The existing 2017 one does have a paragraph about library services, branch library.
So I was invited to take a survey from Moss Adams. They surveyed city staff and asked about some of the things sort of broadly citywide about that. I think that, and I have talked extensively with Courtney about some of the goals and things like that we are aiming for the strategic plan. So the library is currently, so there are these strategic areas for the focus areas for the city's strategic plan. And I cannot name, I'm not going to be able to name all of them. You know, there are things like public safety, infrastructure, and then the library, as well as like parks and recreation are under welcoming and livable community. And so most of our goals and anything that has to do with the library ends up falling under that welcoming and livable community area. But I'm happy to take any, and just like Eunice said, I'm happy to take anything to Courtney from this group that you would like to see included in the strategic plan for the city, the update.
Well, I think we would make our own independent recommendations. I just wondered if you representing library staff will be making your recommendations, or are you just having more of an informal discussion with her?
It's more informal discussions, and we're talking more with the consultants, Moss Adams, than we are with the other city staff more directly.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Well, from what I understand, and I didn't get a chance to, what the city council on Monday had a work session about the city strategic plan, and I was going to watch it, but then something that was more fun came up. So since I'm a volunteer anyway, I do think it would be to our benefit to have a statement in this planning part, just like we did with our Salem. And I'd kind of like to hear if anybody else, I know how Catherine feels about it because I think she's a planner. She knows how important it is. Anybody else have any feelings about this one way or the other?
It is, it's something that I can send everybody links to the various resources online. If you want to do any reading about the strategic plan and what it looks like and things like that, if you're interested in that, I can send that out to the group.
Well, I don't see anybody.
I saw a nod.
Oh, we do have the statement that we made for our Salem.
Mhm.
And what do people think about possibly sending that or adding something to it and sending it to the strategic plan, the city strategic plan? I love that I have so much input from you all.
When you say
Sarcasm. That was sarcasm.
When you say or adding something to it, would that be adding a specific reference to branch libraries?
Well,
Or
it seemed like that was something that possibly, Eunice said, maybe we wanted to say something about branch libraries. So that seems good to me. We have one branch library, West Salem, for the new members, and they probably know that, but there's some really underserved areas, particularly in the northeastern part of Salem, that I think really needs some outreach. And I think we're the advocates for that. So yeah.
I think anything that we can do to get them thinking about, at least adding one more and then hopefully more down the line.
Yeah, thanks, Gretchen.
But
Do you have your hand up, Sarah? Go ahead.
I was just going to add one of the things that I've been really interested in is the concept of co-located services, and that for the long-term planning, I think having buildings and spaces and having that as a goal is really great. I think outreach and co-locating services might be something you want to consider for the strategic planning, just because those are, I think, more attainable in the shorter term. Not that we don't want to also aim for branch libraries, but start things that could start building us towards some branch libraries and towards those services are things like, we have the kiosk in Center 50 Plus, the ebook kiosk, and we have some pop-up libraries in some of the retirement centers in town. Those kinds of things are some of the co-located services that I'm talking about that we already do, and expanding on those kinds of things as we go through, and I'm meeting with SPRAB, actually, the Salem Parks and Recreation Board, at their next meeting to talk about partnerships and stuff like that we can do. So, which actually I should have talked about in my city librarians report, and I just realized I didn't. So that might be something to think about as well. I'm just putting it out there.
I agree. But it sounds like we're pretty much plugged into the seniors, but I think we really need to focus on kids and families. And how do we get services to them, or how do we get them to services?
So in addition to branches, we might want to say something like and co-locating services.
I mean, Catherine and I were in Eugene at the Eugene Library, and we saw what they had done down there in terms of basically opening storefront branches. And there was an old Wells Fargo in a shopping center, and they turned it into a small branch library. In a strip mall, small branch library.
Sounds great.
I already covered. There's already parking there. Easy accessibility in neighborhoods. It was great.
So that sounds like something we could put in the wording about to the city strategic plan. Branch libraries, co-locating services, and other
Neighborhood
ways.
library services is what it sounds like to me is what you're really interested in.
Say that again.
Neighborhood library services.
Exactly, yeah.
I didn't hear that because my connection's not real good.
Oh, I said neighborhood library services.
Yeah.
The library services.
Neighborhood, yeah.
Neighborhood library services.
Yeah, sounds good.
Can I just add
Go
one more thing? To date, we've made our proposed policies available to city staff. But I noticed that the Parks Board made theirs available to City Council as well. And so I think that it might be a good idea to cover all our bases and make sure nothing falls through the cracks. And if we have something additional to send out to make sure it goes to City Council as well as city staff.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Anything else about this? Okay. The next thing on our agenda is kiosks. And for the new people, this board has been very concerned about parking at the library. Me personally, when I tell people I'm on the library advisory board, most of them say, why do we have to park at the I mean, why do we have to pay to park at the library? I mean, really, they don't say like, what about this or what about that? They're like, why do I have to pay to park at the library? So we've been kind of working on that. And with the renovation, we've been pushing for free parking, which we aren't probably going to get. We have made a recommendation of 3 hours of free parking, and we're going to see where that goes. In my work I'm on the subcommittee for the renovation, and there has been talk about having 90 minutes of free parking and using kiosks like they have down by the Capitol, you know, where you put your credit card in and all, it's in different languages and all these things. Anyway, we were not, when we wrote our recommendation to the subcommittee and the city council, we were not sure about the kiosks. And I'm just going to say my kind of opinion here, and then everybody can say what they think. I think it's important now that we focus on the 3 hours of free parking that we want to recommend, and let the city and the city council decide about whether they want meters or kiosks or jars of, you know, pennies that I don't know. I know this is on YouTube and everybody can watch it, but I get bored if nobody's laughing, and which nobody is, but I am. So what do you all think about the kiosks, and do we need to get into that, or should we just leave our recommendation as it is?
My thought on the kiosk is those kiosks are going to cost money. Are they going to make it up in income to pay for those? Or we just give the 3 hours and leave it at that, because it seems like a lot of bother, but more importantly, a cost in creating the kiosks.
They cost $12,000 each. Sarah.
So there is an upfront cost to the kiosk, but the piece that they do help with and where the savings for the city comes from is they make it a lot easier for parking management to do their jobs. So if parking management has a 3-hour sign and they have to go through and chalk everybody's tires and do a lot more hands-on management, that's more difficult than the kiosk piece. So that is where, and I'm speaking for parking management here a little bit, and I am not them, but that is my understanding where their desire to have the kiosk versus the signs comes from, is that it actually helps them do their jobs. And they have machines that can do, you can actually, they can configure them. They're very programmable to work in whatever way that we decide is best. To make it easiest to honor patrons, and also that will help the parking enforcement folks do their jobs.
Catherine?
I don't know that the lab needs to take a position on kiosks. I think we made our desires clear to the renovation committee about the 3 hours of free parking that we support unanimously as the lab. And I know the city staff feel strongly about the kiosks, but I don't know that we need to get in the middle of the argument. I think it's enough that we've made the recommendation we did and let others figure out the details. That's my view.
Anybody else have thoughts about this? Okay. I think we're done with that. We are on to action items. These are the things that we vote on. So it looks like our first action item was about the kiosks, but from what people said, it kind of looks like we don't really need to make a change of supporting kiosks or not supporting kiosks. Yes?
Agreed.
Okay, thank you. So that is not an action item anymore. We have to approve the calendar for meetings in 2021. That was in the packet. They're usually the second Wednesday of every month, except for July and December when we don't have meetings. So if that is something that you approve of, we need a motion.
I move that once everybody has read it, that we approve the calendar.
Is there a second? Catherine seconds. All right, so we are voting on the calendar for 2021. All in favor, do thumbs up or smile or sing a song. All right, everybody. Well, Kellen, I didn't see. She's thumbs up. Okay,
Yeah.
good. All right, great. We made for the new people, we made a $5,000 donation to the Salem Public Library Foundation for Salem Reads, which is kind of a traditional thing that we do. And there's 3 library groups: the Friends of the Library Advisory Board, and the foundation, and we kind of support each other. So we just need to make a motion about which fund we are going to take. Oh, Sarah? Yes?
I was just going to add a little bit of information about the funds. So the money in those funds comes from donations that are made to the library rather than the foundation or the Friends. We try to tell people to donate to foundation or Friends, but people do sometimes donate to the library. So that goes into trust and agency funds that the lab has control over. Some trust and agency funds are restricted. There is one that is for fiber arts materials and fiber arts materials only, that we will never be able to spend all of that money. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of background. These are the unrestricted funds that you guys can designate to spend on whatever you would like. And we just need to know which one you want to use for this donation.
Yes, so we have two funds. One is the Luella Charlton Estate fund, which is project 337149, and the other one is gifts, donations. That one has the greater amount of money. So it would seem to me we take it out of the one that has the less amount of money because we can get more interest on the other one. Anybody else, anybody a financial wizard that knows more about that than I do, or have a different idea? Okay, well then, I would need a motion about which fund to take this money, this 5,000 from. Either 337147 or 337149. Anybody? What is the, never mind. Okay.
I've
we have
forgotten
no-
which ones wish.
Okay, the lesser, the one where we have the lesser amount is 337149, the Luella Charlton Estate.
Which one was the one with the less interest? Less interest bearing.
Let's see. I just got this before I logged on because I didn't look at my email today. So I didn't spend a lot of time looking at it. Oh, well, definitely the other one gets the most interest. I mean, by a lot, but it has a lot more money. So 337149 is the one where we have less principal, therefore gets less interest.
Okay, is that your motion for that one?
Yes.
Okay, I make a motion that we provide funds out of the account that makes the less interest.
Okay. Which is 337149. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Right.
Anybody opposed? Oh, I haven't been saying anybody opposed. Yikes. Okay, that motion has carried. Yay. We do have a pretty nice amount of money, and this is my own opinion as the chair, that we need to be using some of that money. We got money. We got people that need resources and books and all kinds of things. So I'm so glad we can give to the Salem Reads. So is there any other, are there any other action items? Catherine.
I would like to follow up. We've been having this evening on the various planning processes. And I think it would be really good to make an amendment to the policies that we provided to the city so far. And to that end, I have some proposed language here that I want to run by people. First, before I get there, I just want to let people know what policy it is I'm thinking of. It's the one that we provided to the city that says maintain and enhance access to library resources throughout the community, extending services to underserved areas and increasing hours of operation and availability of resources. What I propose is that we splice in there language that says including co-location of services and additional branch libraries, particularly in the Northeast. So the way it would read would be maintain and enhance access to library resources throughout the community, extending services to underserved areas, including co-location of services and additional branch libraries, particularly in the Northeast, and increasing hours of operation and availability of resources, which is a heck of a run-on sentence, but it gets the message across. So that's the first of two motions that I want to make.
So Catherine's suggesting that we amend what we have voted on previously to our Salem library policies. And it's what we've talked about today that we want to add, make it a little more specific. So I need a second to that if anybody would care to second.
I second it.
Gretchen seconds again. Yay. Okay, so we have a motion and a second to add some language of specificity to our Salem library policies. All in favor, raise your hand or do yes, or say yes, yay. Does anybody oppose? Okay, great. All right, that has passed. Now, did you have another thing, Catherine?
So, and Clarissa, I can mail you, Clarissa, I can mail you this wording
That would be great.
Thank you so much,
because it's a really long. Okay, so the second motion I want to make has to do with the fact that we have provided this policy in the past to our Salem process through city staff, but we have not provided our policies to city council. And I think it's important that they go to city council as well. So here's the way that motion would read. I move that the draft policies on library services recommended by the Library Advisory Board to Salem City staff for use in our Salem plan be also recommended to city staff for use in the proposed update to the city strategic plan, and that city council also receive a copy of these recommendations. So
Sure.
that's, even though Eunice said that she would, get our thoughts across, this is just kind of insurance to make sure nothing falls through the cracks.
Any questions about that or second? Sarah.
Can you tell me, and I can also obviously talk to the Parks Board, but did they ask city staff to put them through as an information item on an agenda? Or did they just ensure that that city council was sent that and somebody from their board was CC'd on it?
It looks like they sent it directly to city council. It's on the, if you go to yesterday's evening, it's an attachment there up online.
Okay, so if it's an attachment, then that means it's a staff report that I'll need to actually create and put into an information report, which we have one going for the statistics as well. So I can create that as a second one to go at the same time.
I don't know if it is a staff report or not. So we'll have to,
Okay.
I guess figure that out.
So if we could maybe add something about in the manner that the Parks Board, whatever the manner is that the Parks Board submitted theirs to council, that would be helpful, just for me to know what to do with it.
I think we might want to just call city council secretary and ask her what the usual process is. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Can we not just send this to city council from the lab?
I mean, you can just send them an email, but it won't be on an agenda for going forward. Like basically anything that goes on the actual council agenda it's not a staff report necessarily, but it has to go as an information item that's created by a staff person. As the liaison for the board, then I'm the person who creates those.
Well, I have sent, I've sent letters to city council.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you can send emails or letters to city council from the lab without, and they may ask the city recorder to add it to the testimony if you'd like that. You can actually add things as testimony from the lab. I should say that as well. If that's
I was thinking this was not something that they would vote on. This is like input.
Yeah.
Input to the city strategic plan from lab that I would think we can just send it in.
Yeah.
It's not an agenda item.
No,
so,
I didn't really think so either. I just wanted to make sure
okay.
If I needed to do something, I wanted to make sure I knew what I needed to do. But if you guys want to send it as testimony and send it to the council that way, please do. Yeah.
Is that what you wanted, Catherine?
Yes.
Okay, so now that everyone's confused, there, so what I think basically, Catherine, correct me if this is wrong, but what you're saying is we want to send this to the city council as input to the city strategic plan, the thing
Right.
we just voted on. And if it's not something that they will vote on, it's input from the lab
Right.
to.
Right. And I
the
just want
city.
to, yeah. So
Yeah.
my suggestion that it go from the lab directly to city council is just based on the fact that the lab is independent of the library.
Right. So it would be testimony from the lab.
Yeah.
It would be testimony.
Yeah. Yeah. So we need a second if anyone would want to second it.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Gretchen.
Surprise, surprise.
So let's vote on this of giving some input into the city strategic plan about how we want more library accessibility and co-locations and all those good things. So everyone in favor say aye or raise your thumb. Yay. Anybody opposed? Okay, so we have passed that. Is there any additional business? Okay, well, I want to thank Jeff, who is not here, but I will publicly thank him once again. This has not been a very exciting meeting, but for the new people, it only gets better. So this meeting is adjourned unless anybody has anything else they want to say. All right. Okay. We are adjourned. Bye.
Good to meet everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Oh, happy Thanksgiving. Yay.
Thank you so much, everybody. And it's nice to meet the new members. Gretchen, you're
Yes. Welcome. I'm thankful for a great board.